We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. We have a big show in store for you tonight, as we do always. Guys, I feel like as someone that covers one of the more prestigious teams in the best conference in college football, I feel as if I'm watching an episode of Days of Our Lives, college football edition. It's not in the headlines, but the Big 12 has filed a cease and desist letter for ESPN. It never ends, bro. God, I love doing this show live at 7 o'clock p.m. Central. Every single time you're going to get something that's worthwhile. We will touch on that, but we do have a lot more to get into. Ed Orgeron fired off today in his Rotary Club press conference, called out Nick Saban, and I'm going to tell you my take on what I felt from Ed Orgeron. Ed always tells you what he feels, and he tells you what's going on. He also lists some starters. Has LSU found their next Joe Burrow? There's a kid in the city of Lafayette that's turning some serious heads. Not just from LSU in Louisiana, but nationally. His name's Walker Howard. Does LSU have the next Joey B? We'll talk about that. Name, image, and likeness, a big deal, but show me the money. We're going to go a little full Jerry Maguire tonight and say, show me the money. You know, the interesting thing is everybody's got an NIL deal. This is so crazy, baby. Name 100. Name 100 kids. We'll talk about that. Saints training camp starts tomorrow. Sean Payton and his normal Rudy Poo self talking about some Rudy Poo things. Guys, I've talked about mental health before, and we're not going to talk about mental health as it comes from a political angle and all this, you know. We're just not coming from that angle. I'm going to talk more on the sports side. Everybody's trashing Simone Biles. If we get to it at the end, I'll give you my take as someone who has suffered from some sports, I don't say mental health issues, but just issues when it comes to playing collegiately. I'll get into that. Brian Thomas says in here. Chris Barnhill says, let's go. Nookie says, hashtag ceased and desist letter. Very true. Stephen Miller says, let's go. Or LFG. Let me be exact. And Seth says, closing at work sucks, but AYS, the night makes it go by faster, gets my daily LSU fuel in me. So I appreciate all you guys joining. Let's do this. Do me a favor. Hit the like, hit the share. Share it to some Facebook groups. If you're on YouTube, we greatly appreciate you joining. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button. I see one person every single night hitting the frown button. Every single night it's the same person hitting the frown button. Man, don't make fake accounts. I mean, I can link it back to you. It's so crazy. Hit the like button, share it to your Facebook, share it to your Twitter, share it to your Insta, and if you're on Periscope, Twitter, hit that retweet. We would greatly appreciate it. So let's do this. We'll get to the comments. We'll talk about some stuff. We'll talk about Ed Orgeron, and then we'll get to it. So let's pay some bills, and then we'll get to your comments. None better than our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons. Bet online. I got to very quickly. I did a mobile betting today on Bet Online. Guys, you got to get over there. Fantastic. Show me the money. BetOnline.ag. Guys, with 63 years of experience, no one better in the local Baton Rouge, Denham Springs area is better at servicing your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. Or go see them over at 2500 Florida Boulevard in Denham Springs, Louisiana. Tell GM that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. And our good friends over at betonline.ag. Parlays, prop bets, whatever you want, they got it. Want to bet on the NFL MVP? They got it. Want to bet the over and under of LSU's win total? They got it. You got to go over to betonline.ag today. Use your mobile device, set up, get ready to go, and you'll get 50% off of your first deposit on Bet Online. So all your sports betting needs to go through there. As the state of Louisiana has passed the mobile gambling bill, don't miss out today if that is what you're looking for. BetOnline.ag is the fastest and easily the fastest growing betting service in our country. You need to get over to them today. BetOnline.ag. BetOnline.ag. All right, let's get this thing rolling. Robert Plaisant says, how about Milazzo hitting big two-run home run in the playoff game? Yeah. Blaine Smith says, Blake, it is a big deal. NIL is a major part of college football, even in high school athletics. So let's talk about it. I do think that name, image, and likeness is a big deal. I do know that a local coach on the North Shore has said that he's had players tell him that, I don't really know if you want to call them agents or agency firms, have reached out wanting to, for them to sign, and a local agency firm, I might add you, that just started up. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with that. What I will say, though, about name, image, and likeness is if there's so much money, if it's going to be earth-shattering, show me where it's at. Yeah, there are kids that are able to do stuff like Trey Morgan. There are going to be guys like Derek Stingley that get deals. Guys, there's 99. Actually, even more than that. But 99 other kids on LSU's roster, and only a handful have something. Only a handful. And this whole narrative, Blaine, in reference to, what if this DB argues with that DB because he got more money than I do? The truth of it is the guy that's getting the name, image, and likeness deal, the guy that's getting the endorsement, the chances of him telling anybody the exact number, because guys, we have sponsors on here, okay? When contracts are signed, you can't tell people how much you're signing for. Now, they can put it at the end of the year on their tax releases, and that's normally how people find out how much people are getting paid from endorsement deals. But that's not normally how all that works. You're not going to just be able to find out how much somebody made if you don't tell them. I don't tell you guys how much I get paid, nor do I think it's right for me to tell you or you to even ask. So the simple fact of that, it's earth-shattering right now in college athletics, show me where it's earth-shattering. Show me where it's earth-shattering in recruiting. Because it hasn't happened yet. Because at the end of the day, what most people aren't betting on or seeing is that kids actually want to win football games. LSU and Texas play. LSU, through recruiting possibly, they're not supposed to do this, but you know what I'm trying to say here, gives a kid a name, image, and likeness deal. Texas matches it because businesses aren't going to go out and spend hundreds and millions of dollars for one player. Kids want to win. Kids want to get in the league. Your $100,000 Rudy Poo deal, that's a lot of money. I shouldn't call it Rudy Poo. That $100,000 deal means nothing to a kid that can make $40 million being a first-round draft pick. Means nothing in the grand scheme of things. So, is it a big deal? Yes. But we'll see. Brand says, Blake, I agree with Sean Payton on Mike Thomas. He should have had this surgery earlier. Yeah. We don't exactly know what we don't actually know, though, what they told him. I mean, we've seen guys look at Delvin Breaux. Delvin Breaux said I had a broken leg. Saints medical staff said, no, you didn't. He gets a second opinion. Guy's got a broken leg. All right, so we'll talk about that. Mark Allen sends us some stars via Facebook. We appreciate that, my good friend. Let's talk about this because Ed Orgeron did talk today to the Baton Rouge Rotary Club. Now, usually this kick SEC Media Days kind of kicks off the season, but really around here locally, the head coach going to the Baton Rouge Rotary Club usually kicks off the season, right? Like that is I don't want to say inaugural thing that we do, but normally 9 times out of 10, it's a week before they go to camp. Ed talks about some stuff. He makes some jokes. Some people ask questions. A lot of these kind of people, a lot of people with money start asking questions, and Ed answers them, and they have a good time. And that's normally 9 times out of 10 where Ed gets a lot of his money from as one of LSU's biggest boosters in what do you call that? What's the word I'm looking for? Introduced Ed Orgeron today and Richard Lipsey. So let me tell you what I feel in reference to what I saw from Ed Orgeron. You can say, yeah, Blake, it was a pep rally. Yeah, it was this. Yeah, it was that. Blake, Ed was doing, he's going to try to rile up the people that have money. And I get all that. Yes, you can win a press conference. That's not what you saw. What you saw was a focused, locked-in Ed Orgeron. An Ed Orgeron that's chomping at the bit to get back on the field so that his team can smacketh down on the candy asses and on the fan bases of all those candy asses that have been talking shit all off season about what happened last year. Now, if LSU goes out and has a season where they're 10-2 this upcoming season, what are we going to say about the season last year with COVID? Does that diminish a national championship from the University of Alabama because it's during a COVID year when no fans were in the stands? I shouldn't say no fans, but a very limited amount of fans were in the stands. My question is that a lot of people want to see Ed fail. But the Ed Orgeron that we saw last week at SEC Media Days, what was that, last Monday? So about 10 days ago, or 9 days ago, however you want to count the days, the Ed Orgeron that we saw 9 days ago, focused, locked in, and ready to go, is the Ed Orgeron that you saw today. All I'm going to say is this, because I feel like I'm starting to beat it over the head at this point. You better get your jokes out now. You better get ready to have all those jokes that you have about Ed Orgeron, that you have about LSU, get them out of your system. Because this team is coming back with a vengeance. I'm going to get to a couple of these comments in just a second. But let's get to what Ed talked about the starters. So I'm going to say this, and this is not a data boy Blake or anything like that. Monday, I told you that the next Ed Orgeron press conference would go a little something like this. I told you that Ed would list his starters. Ed wouldn't give you the quarterback. He would talk about Ty Davis-Price. That was number one that he talked about. If you want to go back and listen to Monday's show, I told you exactly what Ed Orgeron was going to say to a T. Offensively and defensively, to a T was on Monday's show. Ty Davis-Price is down to 225 pounds. He looks great. We talked about that. The offensive line. So the entire offseason, everybody has been saying, Blake, LSU's O-line is shit. Blake, they're shitty, broody poo. And last night we talked about how you had running backs in every game besides one averaging 5 yards per carry in each one of your games. Ed Orgeron comes out today and confirms what I've been preaching all off season. The offensive line is going to be our strength this season. What? On the offense, they want to run the football. They're not going to get back to the Steve Ensminger schematic type of plays, pulling guards. They're going to run inside, outside zone, get north and south, make one cut, get up the field, gain 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yards. You break one, sounds good. We're up to the line. We're ready to go. Another RPO is coming up your ass. That is what they want to do. And this O-line, I got to finish the stats here. I'll give you some things that I'm working on. Inside zone, the last 4 games of the season, I'm legitimately marking it down an average of up close to 6 yards per carry. Sleep on the offensive line if you want to. Now, the crazy thing is that we got to find the left tackle. Now, Ed talked about Cam Wire being there and Garrett Dellinger being a guy that they think that can kick out to left tackle. And he talked a lot about Anthony Bradford being a guy that they think that can play right guard or right tackle. Wide receiver, again, what we talked about Monday. Ed's going to pump up the freshman wide receivers. He's going to talk about Kayshon Boutte, and he sees a guy that has a lot of electricity in him, and Trey Palmer. Does that sound like anything that we've been talking about? All 192 of you that have been listening to this show religiously all offseason know that that's exactly what we've been talking about offensively. Now Jack Bech has gained some weight. Looks like he's going to be moving over to slot tight end. Going to be a guy that's more of like an H-back, a guy that you can line out wide, who's a big body, that's physical, and that can run. Jack Bech, I think, is when people talk about day one starters, Jack Bech at this point is that day one starter per Ed Orgeron. So just so we understand, Jack Bech has been mentioned by Ed Orgeron 6 or 7 times this offseason saying that he's going to play a lot of snaps and a lot of snaps early. That should tell you all that you need to know about. You talk about your day one starter. There he is. It's not Deion Smith. It's not Chris Hilton. It's not Brian Thomas. It's not Sage Ryan to this point. Now, I think he could be there. It's not Drake Davis, the safety from Pennsylvania. It's not a lot of these guys. It's Dak Besh. Going over defensively, let's just start at safety. He talked about Jay Ward. He also talked about Major Burns. We talked about on Monday that Major Burns was going to be your starting safety, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but Major Burns will be your safety alongside Jay Ward, a position they thought that they were really suspect about, has now turned into a positive per Ed Orgeron because Major Burns is back from Georgia in the state of Louisiana and at LSU. One guy that Ed didn't touch to, and I'm going to get to these comments. One guy that Ed Orgeron did not talk about in the safety room that I was kind of interested to when I didn't hear him talk about him was Todd Harris. Guys, I'm telling you, Jay Ward is taking over. He's taking over, and so is Major Burns. You know what you got on the corners. He talked about the corners. He talked about the nickel. Something that I don't agree with Ed on is Cordell Flott in the slot. I think he needs to be moved outside. You got to find somebody in the slot right there. And I think that Sage Ryan is a guy that could come in and fill that role. He talked about the defensive line. I'm saving linebacker for last. He talked about the D-line. He was giddy, guys. Giddy and girls. Giddy. In reference to the rotation that they finally have, and they can go 4 down linemen and get after the quarterback. There's no other thing in football defensively that when you can get to the quarterback and put pressure on the quarterback with 4 guys and you don't have to blitz, you don't have to send more and more guys to get after the quarterback, and you can go in zone, you can play man, you can play a man-zone combo, you can do switches. It makes the life of everybody else so much better when you can get home with 4. Those guys on the defensive line are going to be rotating in and out religiously. Hey, you need a breather? Hey, here comes Savion Jones, or here comes Bryce Langston that Ed talked about a lot today, along with Mason Smith. Bryce Langston was a guy that we talked about a month ago. I told you that I'm hearing that Bryce Langston is killing it this summer in the offseason. It's a guy we talked about. I actually had a whole segment on about Bryce Langston. They have a lot of talent. Ed is giddy about this recruiting class and the talent that they have. Linebacker is interesting. He confirmed what I told you Monday. Micah Baskerville's back. We said it again about 2 or 3 weeks ago as well, that if anybody tells you that Micah Baskerville isn't qualified, they're lying to you, because there was some chatter this weekend that Micah Baskerville wouldn't be back. I saw some things from some people. We got to wait and see if Micah Baskerville is going to be back. Ed confirmed that today, and he talked about Mike Jones. Who Mike Jones? Got a lot of depth there. And he talked about Damone Clark. So Ed gave you the starting lineup for both sides of the ball. The only thing that you don't know is quarterback. And Ed has kind of already confirmed that. Ed, the worst and best thing that Ed could have said was when he went on with Mike Detillier, is he said everybody in the locker room knows who the starting quarterback is. Everybody in the coaching staff knows who the quarterback is. You think that you mean to tell me that those kids aren't going to let your boy know? Come on, man. Come on, man. Get out of here with that. All right, let's get to a couple of these comments. TigerBait.com. Mike Scarborough. Dude, Mike's got an interesting piece on Kendrick Law talking about recruiting. You guys need to go subscribe. Use the promo code AYS30 on that as well. $1 gets you 30 days. Great write-up. Mike's killing it out there. I think that they do a show on him and Buddy Sonji do a show tonight. Tonight's Wednesday. So right immediately following after us, go check it out. Kenny Russell says, I saw that. Definitely not a good sign. What did you see, Kenny? What did you see? Yeah, something interesting. Mark brings this up. He said, Ed said, talk to Derek Panamsky, talking about name, image, and likeness. He did. And look, here's how I know Ed, that the 2019 Ed Orgeron's back is and look, talking about Mike Scarborough and TigerBait.com, that's where I actually watched the interview when I was out today doing some stuff. I watched the interview from TigerBait.com, and the funny thing was when Ed's fielding questions and somebody asked, "Hey, coach, can I build a business and start paying players and making them interns and doing stuff like that legally?" And Ed said, "Yeah, people are already doing it, and they're going around bragging about it." That's the Ed Orgeron I want. Give me the little bit of petty. Not a lot. Pettiness gets you beat. I preach that religiously. Give me a little. Give me a little. He didn't call Nick by name, but he's saying, "Hey, look, name." Basically, what he's saying to a crowd full of money people is, "Hey, listen, whether you like it, love it, or hate it, name, image, and likeness is here. If you want LSU to be relevant, you better pop out that checkbook. Taft is right here. I'm sure Scott Woodward is around here somewhere. Write that check that says 1.2 million, 1.5 million, and let's get going. Hey, by the way, Texas is coming. By the way, Oklahoma's coming. You want to keep winning natties? You better get that fat checkbook out and get ready to go. Because the biggest naive thing that everybody continues to think is that LSU doesn't have. Alabama has more boosters than LSU. Texas has more boosters than LSU. That might be true, but they ain't out there spending that money like Texas ain't out there spending the money at times like LSU is. Guys, come on. That's why their ass is getting beat every Saturday. They're not invested like LSU is. Ed pretty much in a room full of money people said, plot that thing out there, put your John Hancock on that thing, and let's get rolling because I'm here to win natties. That's what he's telling you. He's also telling you is that, hey, I listened to all your bullshit. Ed's telling people, hey, I listened to all your all-season bullshit. You want me fired. You think I can't do it anymore. You think 2019's lightning in a bottle. Well, that's a lot of bottles and a whole bunch of lightning that he had to hit on. The Ed Orgeron you saw is focused and ready to go. Roger says, facts, bro. Nobody knows nothing about him, how he get a deal like that. Oh, for sure. For sure. Nobody in a locker room, when we talk about name, image, and likeness, if I get a deal, I'm not telling people, look, to your old white-haired people that are freaking out about this, count your own money, Big Daddy. Don't be counting mine. Eric Wright says, whoa, Blake, I need that $100K. That's true, but you get what I'm saying. What is $100,000 to a guy like Derek Stingley when he knows he's about to make $40 million? I mean, come on, man. I'm not saying that, if Texas is $125,000 and LSU's at a deal at $100,000, but LSU's religiously beating the dog shit out of Texas, it happens all across the place. Some kids you may lose because they want the money. The kids that are going to be out there that win you national titles are going to bring their happy ass to Baton Rouge. Brandon says, Blake, why do you hate Peyton so bad? I've covered this so much. He says, I understand he's an ass a lot of the time, but he's the best coach in Saints ever had. I've never said that he's not the best coach that he ever had. I just think that pettiness gets your ass beat. And he is a petty son of a bitch. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He's petty. I'm not a Sean Payton fan. He wants to, hey, look, he wants to come to the table, to the AYS table, and, after the whole debacle with me and Sean Payton, you want to come to the table, you want to unblock me because, guys, how sensitive of it is it that he goes on Twitter, searches his name after a win. Searches his name after a win. All I say, Sean Payton. Questionable call there by Sean Payton. Doesn't pay off. Saints looking great today. And he blocks you. Come on, man. Kyle says Bama quarterback approached 1 million. Do we really know that? I mean, can anybody on the face of the planet confirm that a kid that has said he has no endorsement deals got $1 million? I mean, come on, man. Dominic says, hashtag Rufino's rants. I guess it did turn into one. Carl the Cat says, yo, Blake, what's up, Carl? C. King says to Kyle, if you believe that, then Grand Isle has emerald green water. That's some funny stuff right there, boy. It's true, man. Look, I'm not saying that the kid does or doesn't have it, but where is it? It's like everybody's talking about how you think it's the what if game on steroids. Guys, what if I had chiseling abs and had an arm like Joe Burrow? I wouldn't be sitting here talking to your ass. It's a big what if, because I love pizza, I love donuts, I love hamburgers, I love pizza rolls, I love wings. Wings are my favorite, and that's why I'm a Husky dude that played offensive line. You gonna put some lemon pepper wings in front of my face, they gonna get demolished. It's the what if game. All I'm gonna say is, y'all put some lemon pepper wings in front of my face, dog. Bro, I'm telling you now, don't do it to yourself. Roderick says, Besh is a dog, Blake. You said then them 337 boys out here balling. Yeah, he is. From what I understand, he's around 225, from what I gather. So a kid that's 220, and look, go pop in the film of Jack Besh. I don't know how he's going to do if he can translate into the interior, but that kid is ferocious. Like when Jack Besh was catching balls in high school and guys were trying to tackle him, like watch the violence. It's a baby Rob Gronkowski-esque. He doesn't have the size of Rob, but he has the violence. Like the kid is angry. And the kid is what's nuts about it is he was the most productive wide receiver in Louisiana the last 2 years. It took LSU so long to offer him. As soon as they offered him, they said, he's like, shit. Come on, man. Why y'all hitting the mad faces? Marcus LeBlanc, what you hitting the mad face for? That we about to win? Josh Miley says, yeah, Todd Harris might be done. Very much so. Look, he didn't talk about him at all. Not one bit. He better step it up, man. Look, you got some young bucks in this thing, some serious young bucks in this thing that aren't playing games right now. You think it's a game to Mason Smith? You think it's a game to Savion Jones, Mike Scarborough? I forget what day it was, but go there. He talking about Savion Jones. I'm pretty sure he broke the Savion Jones commitment and all that kind of stuff. And he's talking about Savion Jones is like 245, 250 or something like that, looking chiseled like a Greek god. And he's off the movie Hercules or something like that. Like he's off the movie 300. To the old, and I've told, and look, I'm not telling you guys something that these kids that I talked to on LSU's team, I ain't telling you nothing I ain't told them. Get your ass ready to go because they coming now. Kenny Russell says, so Trey Palmer is making some strides. It's what I hear. Especially catching the football. Look, if Trey Palmer finds a way to be more consistent catching the football, and Ed talked about the electricity today of Trey Palmer. All that tells me is that they're going to try to find a lot of ways to get him the ball in space. Because you're not going to catch up with his speed. The kid's electric. It's like, do y'all remember the movie The Replacements? Clifford Franklin? And he lines up, he's like, Clifford Franklin looking for a new hoe. God, what a movie. He's Clifford Franklin. All the ability in the world needs, my boy needs to catch the football. Gino says, who, Mike Jones? Yeah, he talked about Mike Jones. You better watch out for Mike Jones now. I mean, Ed kind of, y'all saw the smirk Ed had when he was about to talk about Mike Jones? All right, now. Kenny Russell says, if Palmer can put it together, man, he'd be very dynamic. Very dynamic. Bill, the Irishman, Irish Bill, the Notre Dame fan, says watching and listening while I'm doing my walk. I appreciate that, my man. Red Stick 2020 says O talked about Durante's base defense being a 4-2-5 nickel with zone coverage to stop the deep pass. That was big to me. Yeah, and look, you know what? People ripped on Ed literally a week ago about Ed said, it's going to be my way. What he's basically saying is, guys, I want to get back to doing what I did in 19. That's all he was saying. People read into it so negatively all the time. Why is people that cover LSU so negative all the time? Like, and I go out there and rip their ass and like, bro, chill, dog. Smoke a bag of weed or something. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm just saying. Take a chill pill. Take a Xanax. Don't break the law. I'm just saying. God. Durante Jones comes from a sister system with Mike Zimmer, that they ran a lot of zone. They ran a lot of man. He comes from a very long, he kind of what guys, doesn't it sound like Dave Aranda without going to Wisconsin? Only different, and the great thing about Durante Jones is he clarified this. 3-4-4-3, don't give no Rudy Poo to me about the coverage I'm calling. And he ain't lying there. And Ed told you why he wants a 4-man front. Guys, it doesn't matter. Guys, Clemson has a 4-man front. Doesn't bother them any Rudy Poo way. They're going to be multiple. If they got to use 3 down linemen, LSU's going to do it. They're not based to one thing. Ed said that multiple times. He just says that he would rather a 4-man front to get after the quarterback. They need to drop Ali Gay out in coverage. They need to do something exotic. Guys, they've done it in the past. The stupidest, and this might be the stupidest thing that everybody said about, Ed Orgeron's not an X's and O's coach. Yeah, to an extent, he's more of a motivator, a leader, a CEO type. But that man been around. That man has forgotten more football than the Rudy Poos that talk negatively about him. You think Ed Orgeron has gone 40 years without learning defense? He might not be able to articulate it the way that it needs to be done. That might not be his strong suit. But yeah, he can talk about it with coaches. The funny thing is that when he hired Joe Brady, he was smart enough to know that the guy talk about why I hate Sean Payton. I shouldn't say hate. I just like Sean Payton. He's making fun of Joe Brady going to get him Popeye's chicken wings, chicken tenders, the 3-piece, a biscuit, and a thing of soda. Ed Orgeron talks to him once and says, dude, you're a genius. Come over here with me. And then Sean wants to take shots. Sean even confirmed that he told Joe Brady it was a stupid idea. But it's all Ed Orgeron's fault. Mike Detillier on this show told us that he heard Sean Payton making fun of Joe Brady after getting him Popeyes, 3 seasons ago? But I'm the crazy one. PCG on YouTube says, Texas alums give money, but all those California transplants have ruined Texas football. PCG, and I'm not getting political, I wonder how that might affect things. I'm not going to get political there, though, because I really don't care who comes in and out of Texas. Nookie said that David Shaw also called BS on the million. I saw that. Kenny also says, I think we will be fine this season. A focused Coach O is dangerous for college football. I agree. Blaine asked, can former players sign current players' NIL deals? If so, LSU needs to bring it too. I don't know really what your question's asking, Blaine. Can former players sign current players' NIL deals? I'm sure that they can, and I think you bring up an interesting point. Patrick Peterson owns some walk-ons. Tyron, here's another, Blaine, you bring up an interesting point. Yeah, because if they own the business, they can give them NIL deals. I wonder if you get a number 18 kind of thing going, like guys that wear number 18 do a bit. One of them has a business and they do an endorsement deal with whoever gets number 18. Maybe they won't do that because, the team picks number 18 and, basically you're giving somebody money. They might not do that. I can see Patrick Peterson giving Derek Stingley something, or whoever wears number 7, or Tyrann Mathieu. I could see that, but We'll see. But I don't know. I mean, I wonder if players wouldn't want to do that just because of all the problems it brings. Travis linked on Facebook, TigerBait.com to watch Ed Orgeron talk to the Baton Rouge Rotary Club. So, guys, you can click it there if you missed the Ed Orgeron presser today. Nookie said Clifford Franklin, a one-man cold. Clifford Franklin, a one-man catching it, and Clifford Franklin the only one coming down with it. God, bro, I love the replacements. God, I love the replacements. And when he says it looks like you know what an elephant when they put the sticky stuff on his hands, come on. Nundiska! Nundiska! My man ate boiled eggs before a game. Roderick says, imagine a package with Palmer, Booty, Hilton, the speed on the field, Laud. You ain't lying. And then the physicality of a guy like a Cole Taylor or Jack Besh. The problem with all of this is what do you stop and what do you cover? That was a problem that you saw in 2019 more than anything. Hey, Oklahoma, let's give this example. I'm not saying Oklahoma shut down Jamar Chase or they had the players to shut down Jamar Chase. That's not what I'm saying. They came out with a game plan to double Jamar Chase. Justin Jefferson went cuckoo for ever-living Cocoa Puffs. You can't stop everything, man. In the RPO game, you can't – and we're going to run it. Is he going to pull it? Is he going to take it? Is he going to pop a quick slant? Is a guy coming across the middle like Justin Jefferson did so many times? Texas 3rd and 17. So much shit to cover, man. As Terry Baker sends us some stars on Facebook. Thank you, my good friend. Let's do this very quickly. I'm going to get to the Walker Howard stuff coming up next. We're going to do this very quickly. Guys, you got to get over to my good friend, Mr. Richie Roche, over at Roche's Lawn and Landscape, 225-937-7220. That's 225-937-7220. Give him a call today if you want the best-looking yard in your neighborhood. Again, that's 225-937-7220. And our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com, 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600. Getting a wreck, DWI, successions, real estate, titles, they can do it all. Get a ticket. You ain't got your driver's license. Cops pull you over. They can help you out. drakewilliamslawfirm.com, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. All right, let's get to it. Let's see. Bill says, hashtag stay off the weed. If you're wondering what he's meaning there, it is a Stephen A. Smith thing, but I went on their Bill's radio show, and I forget, they got me all hot, worked up. You know how I get when I get all worked up. And I was like, stay off the weed. So it's kind of been a funny little thing on their radio show. Eric says, Palmer could potentially be our version of Waddle on offense in the return game. Yeah. I mean, look, he showed you what he can do against South Carolina. I mean, the kid's electric, guys. Just electric. Eddie Santos, I can confirm this. So people putting this in here. Eddie Santos says Mason Taylor to LSU tomorrow. I can confirm that. That is actually that's very accurate. Actually, very, very, very accurate. So good stuff there, Eddie. Good stuff there. Mitch Fleming, what's up, Mitch? How you doing? Sends us some stars via Facebook. Thank you, my good friend. Thank you. I appreciate it. Guys, every time y'all send us stars and stuff like that and super chats, it really, really helps us. All right, I want to talk about this very quickly because I'm not sure if you guys saw this. Did y'all see that Walker Howard? First off, I forget the Owen kid, the Ohio State commit. I don't know why his name is slipping my mind, but thinking about Walker Howard, seeing the things that he did, I think he ran a 4.4940 a couple days ago, ran a 4.53 at the Elite 11, the laser time, then runs a 4.49. Guys, I don't know if I can remember a quarterback, especially being recruited by LSU. That was like, and if this Owen kid goes to Ohio State, reclassifies, goes to Ohio State, Walker Howard is the number one quarterback in the country. The number one quarterback in the country will be Walker Howard. With that being said, though, is I feel like we're not necessarily pushing Walker Howard if the kid would have been uncommitted. Like, what would be happening from an LSU fans' perspective if Walker Howard wasn't committed? Would he be the next thing since sliced bread? But since he committed so long ago, and speaking of Mike Scarborough and TigerBait.com, they did the commitment video, which was really amazing. I wonder sometimes, like when I'm sitting in the car and I'm just driving and I'm going wherever I'm going, I think about stuff like that. Would we be putting this kid on a bigger pedestal than what he already should be? So a kid that runs a 4.440 or 4.540, I'll give you the 4.5. A kid that has that electric of an arm, the kid that just balls out in the Elite 11, a kid that's faced a lot of adversity. Oh, by the way, he's a coach's son. So then I start thinking about Joe Burrow, right? Like I start thinking about, well, what was Joe Burrow? Now, he might have not been the highly recruited guy, but he was a guy that's highly athletic, a guy that has a really good arm. You know what else he was? I shouldn't say Jamie Howard's a coach's son, but a guy that played and you got and coached him, but you get what I'm saying. A family with severe football ties. Joe Burrow being a coach's son. So I wonder to myself, are we going to align Walker Howard with Joe Burrow? Because the kid's got the talent. Guys, we haven't had a recruit this good come to LSU at the quarterback position since Ryan Perrilloux. But was Ryan Perrilloux doing the things, and I get what he did in high school, and I know he was a great athlete, and I know he was a good quarterback. A lot of things obviously kept him off the field to get kicked off and all that kind of stuff. But I sit here and wonder to myself, is Walker Howard the transcendent quarterback? And I don't want to put all the pressure on this kid, but is he the transcendent quarterback that LSU, from a recruiting perspective, they got Joe Burrow, and I get that. Joe Burrow put that, and he got quarterbacks to want to come here and be a part of it. I get that. I'm talking about from a recruiting aspect, a guy that wants to come here. Guys, Jamie Howard did not have an easy route at LSU, and he'll tell you that. I do think that Walker Howard is going to be the truth. Now, I don't know if he starts as a freshman. I don't even know if he starts as a sophomore. But what I do know is that I believe that kid's going to come in and do some serious stuff. And then you have another – so let's – hypothetically, let's say Miles Brennan stays. Yes, I'm calling Max Johnson the starter. You have a scenario where you have Max Johnson, you have Miles Brennan if he's not going to transfer, and you have Garrett Nussmeier, and then you have Walker Howard. Guys, that's unreal. That is unreal. And Walker Howard, more than likely, is better than all those cats. Does he bring LSU to that next level? You know, Alabama transcended offensively when they got Tua Tagovailoa. Truth was, they really transcended when they got Jalen Hurts, but Tua put it on another level. And you saw what they were able to do from a quarterback perspective. Getting guys like a Bryce Young that they've never been able to pull. LSU's now doing the same thing, and I'd make the argument even up a class with guys like Walker Howard. I think there's a lot of similarities there. And I think LSU might have their next Joe Burrow, guys. Will Walker Howard throw 16 touchdowns in a season? I don't know that. Will he accumulate 65 touchdowns in the season? I don't know that. Will he be in a single season the SEC's leader in passing yards? I don't know that. Will he lead LSU to a national title? I don't know that. But what I do know is that kid's a stone cold baller, and he can get you there. You put the right coaches and right pieces around that kid's going to bring you places. And he's going to win a lot of damn football games. That's all I'm saying. C. King says something. Arch who and Walker we trust. Guys, I don't know how much you need Arch Manning. What you need Arch Manning for? Kid ain't going to come here anyway, probably more than likely. I think that they're in the race, and I think that they're still in the top 4 in this race. That kid ain't coming here. Unless all hell breaks loose, that kid ain't coming here. If Steve Sarkisian has some Rudy Poo stuff that I know that he's got going on in Texas, guys, that ain't going to work with Sark. It ain't going to work. I might be dead wrong. That ain't going to work. That man can't. It ain't going to work. Jacob Bryson says Quinn Ewers. There you go. I was calling him Quinn. But if that kid reclassifies, I mean, you have the number 1 quarterback in the country committed to you. What would happen if that kid was uncommitted? What would we be talking about if Walker Howard wasn't committed right now? We'd all be freaking out. You know what? We'd be saying, Ed Orgeron can't recruit. That's all we'd be talking about. Kenny Russell says, has his dad's genes, Walker Howard is going to be a stud, to be honest, better than Arch. Yeah, he's better than Arch. They're going toe-to-toe in these Louisiana stuff, and Arch ain't doing half the shit. I shouldn't say half the stuff. He ain't on Walker's level. I get that Arch is a year younger than him, has some maturing to do. But if it was Arch Miller instead of Arch Manning, and you looked at those kids side by side, you'd say, Walker Howard is better right now. Nookie asks about Eli Holstein. The crazy thing about Eli Holstein is he didn't want to sit behind Walker Howard. The kid transferred high schools, then goes to A&M. That's going to be a fun battle. Eli Holstein ain't better than Walker Howard. I promise you that right now. And what Walker's doing in recruiting. Guys, he's a stone cold leader. He's a leader like Burrow. Guys, the parallels to me are too similar. Way too similar. It's laughable. It's kind of spooky. Ed Orgeron talks about, I don't know if Joe Burrow is going to walk through that door again. Shit, Ed. You got that kid in Lafayette about to walk up in this son of, as my friends would say, in this son of the bitch. He about to walk through that door. Give him, 6 months. He going to walk through that door. Funny thing about Eli Holstein at Texas A&M, I think Walker Howard's taking classes at A&M so he can enroll at LSU early. This kid, Walker Howard, is such a savage. He's taking prep courses at Texas A&M so that he can be a midterm graduate and enroll at LSU so he can go up against guys like Eli Holstein and whip that candy ass. God, what a beautiful story. I'm pretty sure it's A&M. Kenny says he throws a catchable ball just like Joe Burrow. That he does. Seth says, in my opinion, while he has a lot of Joe in him, but when it gets here, let's let Walker be Walker. Let him become his own. Yeah. I get all that. Nobody's saying that, though, Seth. Nobody's saying that, though. I'm just saying the parallels are the same. Look, the truth about this, what Seth's bringing up, every quarterback on the face of the planet at LSU that commits to LSU, that plays for LSU, will always be compared to Joe Burrow. There's nothing else that we can do about it. Now, we're not going to compare, the funny thing is that we're going to compare Joe Burrow stats and Miles Brennan stats. Miles Brennan did better than Joe Burrow. I ain't going down that route. You're right. Let him play. The parallels are damn near similar. Very, very similar. Every quarterback is going to be compared to Joe Burrow. Every SEC quarterback is going to be compared to. Hey, look what they did with Kyle Trask, Mac Jones. They're trying to compare those Rudy Poos to whom? And you think that if they're going to take quarterbacks from other schools and compare them to Joe Burrow, you think that they're not going to do that to an LSU quarterback? Psh, not right now, pal. Roger says Orange acts like a diva. I don't know the kid that well. Actually, I don't really know the kid at all. I just know some of his coaches. I played with one of his coaches. I don't know him that well. Eddie says Ricky Collins in 2023. That kid can ball too. I think that I'd heard from somewhere that Jake Peets worked out Ricky Collins like 3 times and wanted him to throw for him. And we saw the clip from Matt Trent at WBRZ. Going out and watch Ricky Collins throwing the football, and Ed made the joke, that looks like a tiger to me, and then everybody's laughing. Travis says LCA shut Arch and Newman down in the semifinals last season. That they did. They did not have an answer. Borderline kid is on that team. The Jennings kid, the wide receiver. Walker Howard would never. Terry says that report is Clemson wants in. Has that been going on since we started the show? Ain't no man. There's no way Clemson comes in this thing, right? Like, there's no way that Clemson comes in the SEC. Why would they? Like, why would they? I don't see the I don't see why they would. I mean, they got a clear path in the ACC. They're not going to get tested. Like, could you see a scenario where Clemson's playing Alabama, Georgia, Florida, LSU, Texas, and Oklahoma in the same season? And guys, don't think that that can't happen. Like, let's not act like there can't be a schedule where a team has Tennessee or Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, Alabama, Georgia in the same season. That's very plausible. Like that, that's not a joke. And you mean to tell me that they want to leave the ACC to come and play that? And they got their own ESPN deal? Terry says he's getting off the real LSU Nation. I need to fact check that, Terry. I appreciate you giving that to me, though, brother. Terry, I'm just going to tell you, man, to me, it seems a little bit off. You know what I'm saying? Let me say this, because when I question people, they think I'm questioning them. I'm not questioning, Terry, I'm not questioning you, my brother. What I'm questioning is just like, why would they do it? Travis says, my son plays baseball and football at LCA. I heard that. Fitzgerald West. By the way, that kid ain't that kid's not an athlete like he wants to be or wants to be listed at. The kid's an SEC center, though. Kid can play center. Ain't gonna be no joke neither. The kid needs to focus on playing center. So Travis Cantrell, tell Fitzgerald West that kid can play center in the NFL, and I'm not joking. And I'll play that position for a long ass time. Tell that kid that he can play center in the NFL. He needs to stop playing games. A couple more, we'll get out of here. Brian Pinton on YouTube says, you mean no one want to be Jefferson from 2011 team? Seth says, yeah, I worded that weird, but 9 walks on water. And you're right, Joe set the standard. Yeah, he set the standard, and everybody compares themselves to him. Everybody's going to get compared to Joe Burrow. It's not even close. Stacy Blackwood, what's up, Stacy? Says Clemson has no reason to join the SEC. LOL, they have made it where they are at. Yeah, it's hard for me to see that. Peggy says LSU recruited Fitz for center. I know that they did, but he wants to play defensive line. He wants to play D-line. He's listing himself as an athlete, Peggy. The kid's a center and a good one. He just needs to understand that he's a really good one. Kenny says Clemson is in the decline. If they go to the SEC, I don't see how they stay relevant. Here's the stone cold truth that I think nobody's talking about. I think that you have SEC teams that have multiple losses in the season. I mean, maybe not even multiple losses and get to a playoff, but I mean, could you imagine a scenario? And I don't know if they'll do this, but could you see a scenario of a team having to play Oklahoma, Texas, LSU, Georgia, Florida, Alabama? I could see Auburn having that schedule. I don't know if they do that with all of them, but I could see, a majority of them being played, like Auburn having to play that. Excuse me, that schedule. That'd be the guys in conference. I mean, that's a dogfight. We can make fun of Texas all we want. We can make fun of Oklahoma all we want, but you play Alabama and you beat Alabama, and then the next week you got to line up and play a very good offense in Oklahoma. That ain't no fun now. That is no fun whatsoever. Two more, we'll get out of here. Ray Watt 79 on YouTube says, I saw that earlier about Clemson. And PVT TJ on Periscope says, do you think college goes to something similar to the NFL eventually, a breakaway from the NCAA? I do think it's what they're trying to do. Now, will they do it? I don't know. And I said this Monday night. I mean, name a or did I say it Monday or when did the expansion news break? Was it? I either said it Monday or the last show last Thursday. Name a more powerful individual in college athletics right now than Greg Sankey. I said it last Thursday. Name a more powerful human being. I mean, I think that's a consensus from a lot of people. Last one. Travis says Fitz will play center at LSU. He's been practicing since he committed. He will play both ways at LCA, though. That's good. That's fine. That's fine. Look, center's a position you got to work a lot. You got to rep a lot. You got to get cadence, snap, hand placement. Look, and Travis, you want to tell Fitzgerald to hit me up? I'll definitely work with him at being a center. We'll work with him, do whatever I got to do, even if it's just a couple of drills here and there he can work on. All right, guys, we didn't talk about ESPN getting sued. We went a whole show without talking about ESPN getting their ass a cease and desist letter. Guys, they did it. I mean, and then the most crazy thing. All right, I gotta say this before we leave. The most crazy thing is ESPN basically said, "We ain't do that shit." ESPN came out with a statement. No, bro, that ain't us. That ain't us. We ain't do that. I don't know. I think that Bob Bowlesby's got a smoking gun. Got a smoking gun. Wade says, forgot Oklahoma when we beat them 63-28. Go Tigers. Wade, nobody's saying anything about Oklahoma. What I'm saying, though, is that you're going to act like that they don't historically have a really good offense. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, bro. Nobody's saying that LSU wouldn't beat them. The thing is, hey, let me ask you this. Would you rather – is it tougher to play Vandy or Oklahoma? You're not playing Vandy anymore, guys. You're not playing the Citadel because you have 8 conference games anymore. You're playing Oklahoma. You're playing Texas. Say what you want about them. They're still a Power 5 school. They still get really good recruits. Come on now. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Today's Wednesday or Thursday? If it's Wednesday, then we'll see you tomorrow. If it's Thursday, we'll see you Saturday. But until then, it's Wednesday. We'll see y'all guys again tomorrow. Y'all have a good night, guys. Peace out, Girl Scouts.